welcome to another running vlog. Now, if you have been watching these videos a lot recently, you'll know that I'm gradually working my way up to a half marathon target. And I got 2 weeks ago, I got to 17k, so I'm just 4.1k away from my ultimate goal, which is brilliant. Now, last week I was hoping to go out and do 18k to push on a bit further, and unfortunately the weekend kind of ran away from me. If you saw that video, you'll know all about it. So I said that the following week I would go out and do my 18k that weekend. Now, unfortunately, this happened. Storm Alex arrived. It was a low pressure, landed over the top of Western Europe and just kind of sat there, meaning it was particularly wet and soggy for days on end. The whole weekend was a washout. Now, I don't want to be typically English and be banging on about the weather, but it really was extreme. I looked out at one stage, saw one of my neighbours who has a boat on a trailer on his driveway. He was loading animals 2 by 2 into his boat, which was quite optimistic of him, seeing as it's only about 14 feet long. But, you know, I mean, I did wonder, has he perhaps got knowledge of something that I don't? So, you know. Now, I've got a couple of dogs, and in all of the, one of them's 13 and a half, and in all those years, I cannot remember a time when I had 2 consecutive days when I couldn't take her out for a walk. It just doesn't happen. If you're a dog owner, you will know that you generally have to take your dog out, rain or shine. But although I think elsewhere in the world people think that the UK is like wet and soggy all the time, it's actually not that bad, really. It doesn't rain as often as people think it does, and it's very rare to not get the dogs out for a walk in the dry. But for 2 consecutive days not to get out for a walk because it was just so wet is really unusual. Now, I did venture out, I did go out because I had to repair some guttering. And I have to say that if you're going to repair guttering, it's better to do it in the summer, perhaps when it's dry, and not to do it in the middle of a monsoon, which is what I did. I mean, by the time I'd finished, I was wetter than a pair of Tom Daley's swimming trunks. I was absolutely soaked to the skin. It was fairly horrendous. I did notice actually on my way to get the parts, as I drove past Mr. and Mrs. Noah's house, I did see them trying to load a couple of very confused looking alpacas up a ramp into their very tiny boat, and they had a very angry looking bull tied up to the tow bar on the back of their Hyundai. So it was very dodgy. Decided that perhaps I shouldn't come back the same way. I think it was all going to kick off. Anyway, here it is now, and it's the very next day. It is Monday. So because it is a work day, I ventured out with the dogs for a walk, and I am going out for a run, but I really haven't got the time to put a really long shift in. So I'm going to do 10k today, and I'm still quite upbeat about it because, as Del Boy would say, 10k is my most favourite distance. I love doing 10k, so although I'm kind of off the boil a little bit with my big, you know, half marathon thing, I enjoy 10k. The sun is now shining. What's not to like? So I'm really looking forward to that. I did notice actually as I came out, I walked past Mr. and Mrs. Noah's house again, and looks like they have given up. Perhaps they've noticed that it has stopped raining, or more likely it was a space issue, because I noticed that they had managed to kind of wedge a couple of meerkats underneath the roof rack on their Hyundai, and they'd shoved a ferret up the exhaust pipe. So I think it was probably a space thing more than the fact that it's stopped raining. I really think that's going to come back to bite them in more ways than one. So anyway, I've got to get cracking now with this 10k run. I will tell you all about it on the other side, and yeah, let's just enjoy the prospect of being outside without it being too wet. Wonderful. See you on the other side. 10k. That last bit, as you saw probably in the montage, I was going uphill. It was uphill. But actually quite a nice way to finish. Giving it a bit of welly on just that last few hundred meters. So yeah, that was good. Just a sort of typical 10k for me. So I think it was about 1:04, something like that. Here's the times on the screen, just for the record. And yeah, good. Really nice to get out, because it's when you've sort of been cooped up, really, it's just nice to get out. I really hope the weather's going to settle down a bit, because I'm very keen to get out and do this, you know, push on, carry on my little progression. But you know, it is what it is, and it's all good. There's lots of people out there who, and you may be among them, who have suffered with injuries and this kind of thing, and who can't get out and maybe go as far as you would like to. And I know there are people that watch this, and I speak to on Strava and what have you, that are in that boat. So you know, I've just got to look on the positives, and I've got out 10k, feel great. So that's somewhat dented my work day. So you could say this morning has been a bit of a washout, really. Not a washout, that was over the weekend, but yeah, so I'll end up doing work this afternoon as normal, and then I'll do some this evening, which will kind of make up most of my lost time. So one of the advantages of being self-employed. Right, I think that's anything else to say for this week. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do send your comments, because I love reading the comments. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.